I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you
Greetings technicians, this is Admin Crow here, your coach of the Toronto Star Raptors, bringing you the final team builder for Season 1 of the TDL. This week, we are taking on my friend Isaac, aka OnyxRayquazas, the coach of the OnyxRayquazas, in an epic rematch in the finals of Season 1 of the TDL. So initially, I had a team planned. I made a couple revisions, and it was a lot more solid in my opinion if I really want to try to go for the win. But I guess because this is the final game of the season, I really want to try to bring some heat, and hopefully it works out. I don't mind losing the final overall, but the Raptors will definitely try to pop a W here, even with the heat set, and potentially get our revenge, as we did lose to Isaac in the regular season. So let's see how that will turn out, and let's just hop right into the sets that I'm going to be bringing. Of course, first up we have Kaminari the Tapu Koko. You know that Koko is coming to every single match, and the final of the TDL is no exception, packing the item Assault Vest with the ability Electric Surge, obviously. With the movesets Hidden Power Ground, Nature's Madness, Thunderbolt, and U-Turn. And speaking of which, Isaac's roster did change since the last time we played. There's 3 different mons, mainly being the Mega. He dropped Mega Lopunny for Mega Gyarados, and he dropped a Breloom for Chansey, or I guess Blissey, and his ground type he dropped Diglett. No, not Diglett, Dugtrio for Mamoswine, which is definitely a force to be reckoned with. And Hidden Power Ground, similar to last time we played, is a staple against him, simply because ground spam is so good overall against him. Mainly because he both of these electric resist, I guess resist / immunity, Marowak and Alola Marowak and Magnezone are weak to ground coverage. That's why I have Hidden Power Ground right here. Last time it was a lot easier, simply because he didn't have Mamoswine, he had Dugtrio. So I had U-Turn for the Dugtrio, obviously, but this time he does have the Mamo. I didn't actually. I think he made those changes before we played. That's why I had Shukaberry and Grass Knot the last time we played. So basically, his team didn't change since the last time we played. Those 3 changes were made, I believe, actually a week prior to our first match. So there's a high chance that those mons that he picked up will likely to come this time around. He did bring his Mega Gyarados last time against me, but not the Mamoswine or the Blissey. Both of these serves as really good switch-ins to the Tapu Koko. That's why this time around, instead of the Grass Knot, I'm actually packing the Nature's Madness, as I can predict the switch to potentially his Mamoswine or the Blissey, and just go for a good neutral damage or 50% damage of whatever that wants to come in to take my Thunderbolt. Obviously, the third move is Thunderbolt and U-Turn, because he does have that Alola Marowak as his immunity on top of the Mamoswine. So I don't want to go for Volt Switch and lose out on momentum. So the EV spread here is a little bit different from last time around. With the Timid Nature Max special attack and with 136 in speed, which will actually speed creep anything that's tried to speed creep Tapu Koko that's speed creeping a Scarf Magnezone, if that makes any sense. Scarf Magnezone hits 360, and I can go to 361, but instead I invested 4 more EVs in speed, which actually will put me at 363 instead of 362. You guys will see a little bit here why that is, and the rest is just in HP. Assault Vest is to help me take the flash cannons from the Magnezone a little bit better. This serves as a soft switch into the Magnezone in case he does want to bring that to take advantage of my electric terrain, similar to last time. So I do have a strategy here, as you guys will see a little bit. Next up, we do have Demonic Pillar, the Clado. packing up a Papa Berry. So this time, I'm actually forced to bring Hazard Control against him simply because he does have that Toxapex. My team is pretty T-Spikes weak. This is the final match of the season, that's why I'm not afraid to say this, but I don't have a ground and poison type, so T-Spikes actually destroys my team. Even though my spinner is off the ground, Clado is such a good mon for a tier 5 pick in my opinion, such a value pick, simply because it resists or is immune to all hazards with that levitate ability and the ground type typing. And so I can come in without getting poisoned and be able to rapid spin away his spikes or his rocks, obviously. And Stealth Rock is there for hazard to trip down his team so that another member of my team that's coming this week will be able to try to clean up late game potentially. And the Ice Beam is there for the Xatu. Xatu is actually a huge threat against my team, especially because it beats both of my leads, my Demonic Pillar, the Clado, and often than not Vortex, the Smeargle, which I am bringing this week. So I have no way to touch the Xatu if I don't run the Ice Beam, and it also hits most of these switches decently well. Earth Power is, again, his team is weak to ground. I want to make it so that almost every single one of my team members can handle that Toxapex, simply because there's a very good chance of him bringing it, fearing the Mega Sharpedo, and he did bring it last time as well. But in my opinion, it didn't really have a really good matchup against me, simply because I do have that Tapu Koko. He has to manage his way to work around that. And next up, for the EV spreads, I do have a Calm Nature with max HP and mostly special defense to help me take on that Magnezone. So this thing will serve as a dedicated switch-in to that Magnezone. And most of his other, I guess, offensive threats are physically attacking. So I don't need Clado to handle those physical threats as much, as you guys will see that a little bit later I do have something for his physical attackers as well. So just a little bit in defense in case I do have to take a knockoff from the Toxapex, or just help me with the physical side a little bit better. Or actually the knockoff from Mamoswine, as he does get access to that. So up next we do have Milo Zygarde 10%. I actually pick up this mon right after I lost the battle against Isaac the last time we played, simply because I know that his team is extremely weak to ground, and I actually dropped the tier 2 pick, which is Halucha. That we did have that the last time we played, but I did have the Halucha against him the last time we played, but I figured I need a better ground type aside from Clado to put on offensive pressure. That's why I drafted Zygarde 10%. I am bringing a Choice Bandit set again, so I am running a Jolly Nature, which I'm actually not too comfortable with, simply because I needed the speed to outspeed a Scarf Magnezone. Scarf Magnezone does hit a speed of 360. As you can see, I do hit a speed of 361, and my Tapu Koko is slightly above that. So in case so basically it's for like a very niche situation where he's trying to speed creep me, cause from the way that I have been prepping my I guess speed tiers from my past videos, I only go to a point where I just have enough speed to outspeed whatever I think he's gonna run that's the fastest. So in this case, it would be the Scarf Magnezone, which hits 360. If he try to take advantage of that, thinking that I will only be running 361, I can basically just with 4 points in EV, I get 2 bonus speed points with Coco's base speed of 130. So it's a very niche situation where maybe something that will speed tie with Milo Zygarde 10% that I will be able to outrun with my Tapu Koko. So anyways, so the movesets are pretty straightforward: Thousand Arrow, Extreme Speed, and Outrage. The first 3 moves are very explanatory. Thousand Arrow is very spammable. It has flying type, especially Xatu, and the Extreme Speed is therefore priority, out prioritizing the potential Ice Shard coming from a Mammal, and Outrage is there to click if he doesn't if I need that additional damage, as I am running a Jolly Nature, and Thousand Wave is there to actually prevent doubles, because Thousand Wave, once I hit the foe with this move, he's not gonna be able to switch out that turn, so I can prevent him from doubling if I predict he switch. So up next we do have Kurogiri the Kofak, packing the Rocky Helmet and max HP and max defense with a Calm Nature. Actually, I probably should have put Impish, but I don't think it matters in terms of the rolls or anything. So basically, it's just mainly physically defensive to take on the Buzzwole. This is my dedicated switch into the Buzzwole. So initially, this team was revolved around a weakness policy Celesteela, simply because I did bring Z-move Celesteela in my first and second round of playoff. That was actually sort of a mind game that I was just trying to play with Isaac, simply because I do know that he's gonna definitely prep for Z-move Celesteela, and I haven't been bringing weakness policy Celesteela even once throughout the season. That's why I wanted to save it for the final, but in the end, this crazy thought came across my mind, so I decided to ditch my initial draft, roster that I had against Isaac, but I am a lot more happy with my current team, simply because it will have a little bit of heat, as you guys will see in a little bit. So this is basically the first part of our game plan. Aside from setting up hazards or rocks, or be able to keep away rocks with my Claydol, Kurogiri is my first piece to this winning, I guess, potential, being able to pull off my potential heat a little bit in the late game, right? So Memento is there for setup. So basically, I can Memento if my Kofak is at a low enough health where I think I can take another hit and just be able to get off Memento, allow my Darmanitan to set up. Yes, I'm bringing set up Darmanitan. I don't want to reveal it yet. In the late game, if I do manage to keep away webs and be able to set up with Darm, simply because with the set that I'm bringing, I don't appreciate rocks as a fire type, especially it's so hard to explain this without actually revealing what stat I am with Darmanitan, but basically my game plan is to try to knock off all his potential choice Scarfers, and this is my first knockoff user I am bringing, and be able to speed control with my Smeargle, as I am packing the Sticky Web, a little bit spoiler here, so to ensure that my Darmanitan will be able to outrun his entire roster, even though that he already outruns his entire roster, barring the I think the fastest thing he has without any setup that will outspeed Darmanitan naturally is that Ribombi, but he very well may bring Choice Scarfers. That's why I have knockoff here, and Psychic is there to help me hit the Toxapex, and Will-O-Wisp is for his physical attackers, just be able to cripple them. So once I cripple the physical attackers and potentially knock off his I guess Sash user, just be able to break Sash by setting up rocks and knock off his Choice Scarfers, and then I can, move on to the next mon without spoiling my game plan. Without spoiling my Darmanitan set. Anyways, we do have Vortex the Smeargle, packing the Focus Sash with the Ability Technician, obviously. It's a Technician League, we have to have a Technician for the finals, right? And with a Technician move as well. Bodos, again, for speed control. Both of his Steel types are quad weak to Ground. That's why Ground type is so effective against them. I can't emphasize it enough. And Bodos is Technician boosted. Even though with Smeargle's attack, I'm probably gonna do 5. Even with the quad weakness, both on Heatran and what's the other one? Magnezone. Anyways, so knockoff is there for, so potentially, a speed drop on his faster mons, and so on the following turn I'll be able to outspeed with my Smeargle to get off an Endeavor. That's why I have Endeavor here if I manage to live on my Sash. And the knockoff is there again for his Choice Scarf users. Sticky Web for speed control, like I mentioned before when I went over the Kurogi reset. And now for the hold up. The EV spreads are just max speed and max attack. Max attack doesn't really matter, but it just helps with my knockoff and Bodos. Max speed actually is quite crucial, simply because his second fastest mon, I believe, is that Xatu, which has a base speed of 95. In order to outrun a max speed Smeargle with a Jolly Nature, he needs to run roughly 200 speed in EV if he's not like a timid nature or something, so not a speed boosting nature. That's why having max speed on, which is very unlikely in my opinion. He's probably gonna run a more bulky, supportive Xatu if he so decide to bring it against me. That's why having max speed and speed boosting nature on Smeargle is so crucial. And so up next we do have the heat of this week. Try to finish off the final with some belly drum Darmanitan, right? With the nickname Endeavor, of course, the item Citrus Berry with the ability Sheer Force. So the move sets are Belly Drum, Earthquake, Fire Punch, and Rock Slide. And if you look at his entire roster, the combination of Earthquake, Fire Punch, and Rock Slide destroys his entire roster. The only thing that might potentially live a Rock Slide after a Belly Drum is like physically defensive Gyarados or something, which is like still a neutral hit, right? If he decide to Mega Evolve, there's a very good chance that he might not even Mega Evolve against me if he so decide. This is at +5 actually, so I even calculated the Intimidate coming from the Gyarados. And so the game plan basically, as you guys can probably already see at this point, is to be able to pivot around with my Tapu Koko to revenge kill with my Milo 10% and be able to keep away hazard and set them up with my Claydol, and be able to take a hit, cripple his physical attackers, and provide the opportunity to set up with that memento on the Kofag, in combination with the speed controls via a Sticky Web from the Smeargle and Bodos from that Technician boosted Bodos speed control, and obviously the knockoff again for his Choice Scarfers, especially the potential brain of Magnezone, as that's what he brought against me last time around. And in the late game, just find an opportunity or opening for a Belly Drum Darmanitan to sweep. So yeah, and I actually had to run max attack and max speed with a Jolly Nature simply because I do speed tie with Xatu. In case he does bring that max speed Xatu with Choice Scarf again, like what he brought against me last time around, I would like to at least be able to speed tie with that thing if I don't manage to actually, because the fact that Sticky Web doesn't affect Xatu, and it will be very difficult for me to set them up if he does bring the Xatu, and obviously Bodos won't affect it either. So the only way for me to potentially speed tie or outspeed it is by running max speed and the Jolly Nature. And obviously I don't need the Flare Blitz, as I don't want to take all that recoil. The Fire Punch is more than enough to KO half of his entire roster if I manage to hit them neutrally anyway. So yeah, and that's gonna be it from me for the team builder portion. So I do have something a little bit special here at the end. As you guys know, the off season of the TDL, including a special rule of tier 3 and below, is gonna be actually starting very soon. The draft is gonna take place next Saturday, July 29th, I believe. No, 28th. So I'm actually gonna do the draft order right now live and put it at the end of this team builder. So just to keep it fair, I'm gonna check what Scarlet Mist's team name is. Actually, he didn't even give me a team name. Anyways, so I'm actually just gonna proceed with the randomizer without having Scarlet Mist's team name. I'm just gonna put his name down here instead as a filler. So we do have a couple more a couple new faces this season for the off season, and some of the coaches decide to stay out of the off season. So I might cover all the coaches with their team name and their Discord name, and I guess everything in a future video. But for now, I'm just gonna show the draft order to keep everything fair, and I'm just gonna actually proceed with a randomizer. So yeah, this is gonna be it. The draft order for off-season tier 3 and below for the TDL. Randomize, and we do have it. First up, we do have Primordial Code Surges, coached by Fury. Second, oh my lord, I already see myself. This is actually freaking hilarious, because in the other league I am participating, the PCL, Pokemon Champions League, I'm also the wheel pick. What are the odds? Anyways, second up, we do have Braden Brock, coached by Snow Daddy. And third place, we have Toronto Maple Leaf Young, coached by Lo-Fi. And fourth overall, we have Costa Rica Tropius, coached by Dark Firecat. They are the Tech Min. And OnyxRayquazas, coached by Isaac, has the 5th place. 6th place, we have Houston Hustles, one of the new faces for the TDL, one of my, I guess, divisional rivals from the PCL, coached by Clutch. And 7th up, we have Vancouver Victinis, who's rebranding his team name from the, what was his team name? Whatchamacallit? The Sleeping Willows, coached by Tommy, one of my good friends as well. And Vancouver Spectres is right after, coached by Rizvi Falafels. I'm sorry if I pronounced that terribly, but it's basically Tommy's friend who wants to give Draft League a try himself. So very welcome to the Draft League, I guess, TDL as a whole. Welcome, and ninth place we do have Blizzard Bagon, coached by Jester J, and 10th place we have Scarlet Mist, whose team name is TBD, and obviously as a wheel pick, 11th place we do have myself, Crow, coach of the Toronto Star Raptors. So yeah, that's the draft order for the off-season tier 3 below for the TDL. Hope you guys like your order in the draft, and also, that's gonna be it from me for this video. It's already over 20 minutes. I really don't want to drag very long, or I guess any longer into the video. Hopefully we'll see you guys in the final battle of season 1 of the TDL. So yeah, this is gonna be Admin Crow here signing off. See you in the next one. Goodbye, technicians.